Hello, everybody. I'm Roberta Pacino, and this is the Kiss of Fame podcast. Thank you all for being here. I'm really, really happy to have you. It's been kind of a crazy week, and there's a story I'd like to share with you. This week, we lost our exercise guru, Richard Simmons, and he was a really good friend of my father's. They did a series of exercise videos called the Silver Foxes, and it featured the celebrity parents. So let's see, there was Harry Hoffman, Hoffman's father, um, Jackie Stallone, Sylvester Stallone's mother, Al Pacino, my father, and Al Pacino's father, and let's see, Pauline Fawcett, Farrah Fawcett's mother, and Shirley Simmons, Richard Simmons' mother. And they did a few of them. It was a really awesome time, and I did meet Richard at the cast party that they had at my father's nightclub. He had a nightclub in a restaurant called Pacino's in California. And the memorable moment from that was that Richard Simmons led everybody that was at the party around the nightclub doing the bunny hop. I mean, he was just so upbeat and so wonderful. So rest in peace, Richard. Okay, so I have an amazing guest today, but before I introduce her, let's watch the intro video.
In a world where passion meets recognition and dreams grapple with the reality of fame, one journey illuminates the myriad paths to greatness. Welcome to Kiss of Fame, a podcast where the stories of ambition, perseverance, and personal triumph are told by those who dare to reach for the stars. Greetings, dreamers, doers, and innovators. I'm Roberta Pacino, here to navigate the vast seas of creativity, recognition, and the complex dance with fame. Whether you're an artist, entrepreneur, scientist, or advocate, Kiss of Fame is your haven for genuine stories of grit, inspiration, and sometimes the hard truths of seeking the spotlight. Through intimate conversations with those who've carved their niches, from hidden gems to luminaries in their fields, we uncover the essence of what it takes to rise above the noise. We delve into the magic that drives their passion, the relentless pursuit of success, and the courage required to stay true to one's vision in the face of fame. But this isn't just about the glitz and glamour, it's about the journey. The triumphs, the setbacks, and the moments that define us. From the first spark of ambition to the accolades that follow, every step has its story, and we're here to share those stories with the world. Kiss of Fame isn't merely a podcast, it's a dialogue. A dialogue about the art of achievement, the impact of recognition, and our endless quest for significance in our work and in our lives. So, if you're in search of motivation, guidance, or companionship on your path to recognition, join us. Explore the lives and minds of those who've made their mark and uncover what it truly takes to earn that kiss of fame. It's not just about making art, it's about sparking conversations. Welcome to Kiss of Fame. Subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts, and let's embark on this remarkable journey together.
Okay, we're back. Okay, everybody, I want to introduce to you my amazing guest. She is a VR visionary and the creator of the Metaverse Chamber of Commerce, Alison Morano. Hi, Alison. Hi. Yeah. So, Alison, what is your background? I mean, how did you get into the metaverse? What drew you here?
Well, I've always kind of tried to stay on the edge of technology. And when I started, I go back pretty far. And I remember when the internet and the World Wide Web opened up for the public, because, it was mainly used by military and hospitals and things like that. And when they started opening it up, you just saw the new frontier. And part of it was a great equalizer. I think that it having a whole new technology that everybody can use personally and for their business and all of that, and everybody kind of starting at the same level, really equaled out a lot of the playing field for business and promotion. And so you fast forward to when they started talking about going from Web 2, which is the flat screen and websites and internet, to Web 3, which is a more three-dimensional space and a much bigger opportunity to bring all of your things to life. It felt exactly the same. And I just felt it coming and I jumped into it again because it's the
Yeah.
next thing. But I think it's the next great equalizer as well.
Yeah, I'm finding it absolutely incredible, and I'm so happy that I got to meet you right off the bat because you're such a good invitation, to it. You're just like
Thank you. Yeah, we
so
did meet like
so
right away.
positive and
It
open.
was great.
Yeah.
Mm.
So yeah, the Metaverse Chamber of Commerce. I mean, what's your role there? How did it start, and like where's it going?
So, like I said, when I was working on the beginnings of the web, it was about bringing businesses online. It was all about just getting them to take part in things and kind of not be intimidated and just try to join in. And so, over the years, I've always been very much into helping small businesses, especially women-owned businesses, but small and medium businesses, I think need as much of a playing field as the large corporations and other larger entities that do have the money to be able to jump into things in a big way. But I'm also very much into networking, and I like to bring people together, and I like to connect people with resources and businesses with resources. And I've always gravitated towards real life chambers of commerce. I've served on the boards and as president and chairperson of more than one, both in New York and in Florida. And when I saw a way to look for an organizational structure that would be able to give businesses a way to meet each other and network and learn from each other, which you have to do so fast in here. The Chamber of Commerce structure, kind of bucket seemed the right way to go. And I just started organizing one and letting businesses have some way to be affordably connected to each other in some sort of an association. And the Chamber of Commerce were great.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I've definitely taken advantage of it, and
Yeah,
it's
I
pretty
know. We have
neat
a lot of
because it's
members
yeah,
considering. It's going pretty
mhm,
well.
yeah, that's great. Um, so so I've been hearing a lot about gamification, and I'm not even certain what that is and how crucial it is. If you could just explain it and how to use it, how I would use it. I have, as you know, an art gallery, and
Hmm.
again, I have this podcast studio. I have a few places like how would I use gamification? And so,
So the thing is about gamification is that it's part of having anything that you want people to participate in. And honestly, part of the reason that I'm such a huge fan and think it is an absolute necessity to bring into anything you're building these days, whether you're on the web or whether you're in here, if it's 2D, 3D, whatever it is, the idea of gamification is not so much the type of, when you think the word gamifying or a game, you think that it's got to be some sort of a competition. It's got to be some sort of a win,
right,
even, violence or whatever games do, or puzzle solving. And all of those have base elements that mainly keep people engaged and keep them repeatedly using your app or your game or your metaverse or come back to your store. You can even do it in real life. And it's anything you've ever seen that is something that keeps you engaged and makes it personal to you to want to have fun doing. And you don't have to have a winner, like I said. You don't at the end. It doesn't mean that you have some sort of a trophy. You can, but you don't have to. It's just different things that make people want to come back. And what you do is you kind of leverage up the difficulty of things that they might be doing. So just off the top of my head, I'm trying to think of how to use it in an art gallery, let's say. And what you would do is maybe have different things change in the gallery itself and have people maybe look for things that are changing or teach them something that lets them learn something that makes them a little more savvy about art, let's say. All of that is gamifying. So if you have a lesson on day one of someone comes in the first time, and they're able to answer a question that you ask, or they learn something and they clicked, I learned this about art or learn this about you. they get another kind of a clue, or they get another little lesson. It's making sense. Like gamifying something just is a way to
I
have
think so.
people
Make it
engaged.
interactive. Is that what you're
Yes.
talking? So that they come
Yeah.
in and they get involved in what's
They get
there, and
involved.
there's a
They want to
reason. Yeah.
come back. It doesn't have to be overwhelming. It doesn't have to be something intricate that you have to worry about offering something in the end. It just needs to be a little bit challenging and new that makes them come back. It goes back to when you go into an ice cream shop or a coffee shop and you get a frequent user card and they stamp the card for you. And then you want to come back. Some people come back and they do get their free coffee, but other people just like getting the stamp. There really are people at different levels where gamifying something just keeps them engaged and occupied and happy. And you can apply it in a million different ways now that we're in Web3 and in VR, whether it's on mobile or web or in the headset. It's just endless. But I will say for generations now, younger generations, this is what they're used to. And I think that we would be remiss to not incorporate these elements into everything we're building. And it does not have to be complicated, like I said.
Right. So I'm really interested in business and the metaverse.
Hmm.
And so when I hear, gamification and the younger people, I think not business, but that's not true, is what you're
No.
saying. You can make
Yeah.
business interesting and
Hmm.
fun, really.
Right.
So
Exactly.
yeah,
And people
that's
can
really
learn.
cool.
They like coming in and seeing new things. They like unlocking doors. They like learning to get to the next level. And people do like winning something at the end. It's just not everybody does. That's not their people have different motivations. There are 6 different types that I don't have to go into here, but I'm just saying every game doesn't have to end with a winner. It just has to be engaging and keep people coming back and does not have to be overly complicated. And in business, it's
Okay.
just learning more about you or learning more about your business.
Right. And there's the technology there to do that. I mean, if business
Yes.
has an idea,
Yeah.
there's a way to do it. Yeah. So
And,
that's
and
exciting.
as a quick tip that I could give you about how to incorporate gamification, a great place to be able to ask a question and get information and figure it out is to go to an AI program. Just use a prompt and says, describe your business. If I were to gamify something about my business or my virtual reality storefront, what would I do? And it could tell you. I mean, it's not even something, it shouldn't be overwhelming is what I'm saying. But it is something that everybody who's building in here should explore. It's
Okay, I
just,
like that.
it's a
That's
lot of
good
fun and
advice.
it'll keep people coming back.
Okay. That's really good advice. It'll be interesting to see when all these different businesses start implementing that, how fun it'll be to be here. Um, is my host in the room? Can you hear me? Oh, okay. So I had a whole bunch of questions to ask you that disappeared, but I love talking to you, so I'll come up with one. So yeah, so all the businesses and say actors or people that want to promote themselves, that want to get recognition, and they want fame. Or
Hmm.
they're on the road to being successful. How can they, I mean, what can they do here in the metaverse? How can they utilize the metaverse to make themselves more popular, to get themselves known?
Well, it's interesting. I've been doing different panels and I've been speaking to different groups and I've been meeting so many people in here. It's incredible the amount of influencers that I've come across. And I think that that might be the way you look at it, to be an influencer in here. And it's not only to be influential in the different worlds or different apps you might be a part of and where you're building your locations and building your stores or building, a studio, whatever it is you're doing for how you want to promote yourself personally. You then can use it the same way you would use it outside in the real world, for social media, and think about being an influencer. So it seems to be working the same way. There are followers in VR in the different apps the same way there are followers on an Instagram page or followers on Twitter, wherever you are,
Oh,
on
okay.
Twitch, on YouTube. Tape the things that you do in here and put them on YouTube and then explain how to get in to be part of it as well. And when you do events in VR, post it on social media. There are things that are called deep links, which only one or two apps offer, which Horizon has something called a deep link, and Multiverse app has something called a deep link. People who are visiting in here and are not technically in VR came in through a deep link by clicking on it and bringing it into their mobile app. Those types of links, if you set up a landing page for them on a website or something, they can be searchable by Google. So again, you think of it as really not any different than being an IRL influencer. You're in a different medium here, and you're in a different app world. And that's really just friend everybody. You can gain the same followers in here that you do on your
Okay,
Instagram page.
so you can say start from scratch in the metaverse and
Absolutely.
become an influencer in the metaverse, or if you
Hmm.
are already doing something, say, you're a musician or whatever in the real world,
Hmm.
you can also do that in the metaverse and use that to
Yeah,
promote
and there are
yourself
lots of
in both.
musicians in here. There's all kinds of room for collaboration. And that's the beauty of this is you can come in, you and I are speaking, you are in I'm in Florida and you're in Washington, right? In
In
Seattle.
Seattle, yeah,
And we
yeah,
are at absolute opposite sides of the country, the United
right,
States. I know that our hosts themselves are in Mexico, and I know that there are
yes,
people here in other countries as well. And
uh-huh,
all of it is a way to meet each other and gain and collaborate, right? So musicians, as you were asking, for example, there are lots of musicians in here who are always looking to feature. There's producers in here. You can find them. I
hmm.
know a couple, music producers, and they want to feature you in their worlds. There's just so many
Oh, I
ways,
see.
and the world's become so much smaller. You can literally just stay in your headset and jump from place to place and not have to worry about physically being anywhere with the person you're talking to or collaborating with.
Yeah, so one thing I was thinking is that this is a safe world. It feels safer,
Hmm.
than the real world,
Right.
and that's kind of a relief in a way.
It's
I
an
mean, even as
equalizer.
far
Yeah.
as
Mm.
so that's something I'm getting to appreciate more and more. Um, so you've built a world. I mean, Allison's Place in Wonderland and the Enchanted
Yeah.
Pavilion. I mean, what is that? I,
Oh, that's so funny. Yeah, so that's my own immersive world in here. That's my own personal project. And I collaborate on Enchanted Pavilion. But the thing with Wonderland came about because all growing up, my name is Allison, and of course everybody always said Alice in Wonderland, and I always used to correct them and say it's Alice in Wonderland. It's not Allison in Wonderland. And when you're a kid, it's bothersome. But as I got older and then came in here and saw how much Wonderland was in the metaverse, that it was just that's what this is about, a big Wonderland. I decided to lean into it and embrace
yeah,
it and
I
become
love it.
Alice in
It's
Wonderland.
perfect.
And
Yeah.
I'm creating different worlds and different places that are based around the theme mainly of Alice, but others are based on anything with wonder in it. And I've got a lot of different worlds that just are about wonder that we're building,
Yeah.
that I'm building and collaborating on. We're a little limited on technology, but that's going to change. And I absolutely believe it's going to change very fast. So Enchanted Pavilion came about as a way to go a little bit further into a different kind of an immersive land. And I created some other characters. And I've written an ebook that a children's, or it doesn't have to be a children's book, quite honestly. It's just a fantasy type of book. And it's got characters, and Luna is my main character for Enchanted Pavilion. And I'm building worlds that kind of transport you and bring the story to life. And I'm doing that with Sherry Holmes, who is the owner of Women's World in the metaverse. She's got a lot of
Oh,
worlds, but one of the things we collaborate is this Enchanted Pavilion to transport people into a different kind of a world that will follow along with the characters and bring other elements into it as well.
that's amazing.
Lots of
That
room for
sounds
gamification
fantastic.
there.
That's what I was just going to say. There's gamification. So, you know, with fame, with recognition, you're getting out there and talking about the metaverse. Um, I'm sure that you've come across some kind of criticism for it because it's so new. I know I do. People just kind of they don't get it or something.
Yeah.
How are
Well,
you handling that?
I don't really look at it as criticism. It's more kind of a disbelief. And like I said, there's a track record. When I started out talking about, when you asked me how I got into this, my track record and my data set that I point to is the internet and the advent of the World Wide Web, because I heard the same exact thing that you and I are hearing now. And it's that it's new. We don't understand it. It doesn't seem real. We don't think it's going to last, right? That's what you hear. It's cost. It's still a little bit cost, a little bit too expensive. I believe in the next 18 months to 24 months, that is going to come way down. It's cost prohibitive. That was the word I was looking for. But there are other ways to come in, like you're coming in on mobile here and people are coming in on their laptops. But eventually, the headsets themselves are going to be very easy to wear. They're going to be very affordable. And I have actual articles where I can point to me talking about the internet and how it's going to work and how popular it's going to be. And people saying in the article that they don't believe me. So that's what
So
I
you're
point
saying
to.
it's
I don't
disbelief
know.
rather than
Yeah. And
criticizing. People are just,
yeah.
wow.
And
Yeah.
we're avatars and people don't understand how real it is, right? I feel like I'm sitting in your living room or in your studio talking
I
to you
know when
in
you were
person
saying you're
right
in
now.
Florida, I go thinking, no, you're not in Florida.
Right.
You're
I'm
actually
standing next
with
to you.
me. Yeah. So,
And
okay, I love that. Yeah.
yeah.
So, okay, so yeah, we're going to take a little break and watch a video about my Etsy store and my products. I'm an artist, and as we were just talking about, I have galleries here in the metaverse, and I also have an Etsy shop where I take images of my paintings and I put them on different products. I also sell prints and frame prints. And today I'm going to just a little video about it, and I'm featuring my it's my garden gathering painting of a bunny rabbit, a white rabbit, and a squirrel
Right.
and a groundhog, and they are sharing a meal together, and it's on an apron that I think is absolutely adorable. So let's take a look, and then we'll get back.
Hello. And welcome. I'm Roberta Pacino, and I'm thrilled to invite you into my world of art here in the metaverse and through my podcast, Kiss of Fame. Each piece of art and every episode is a conversation waiting to unfold. As we wander through these
Good.
virtual halls, you'll encounter enchanting landscapes, whimsical creatures, and stories of ambition, perseverance, and triumph. From anthropomorphic animals on mystical adventures to empowered individuals radiating strength, we uncover the essence of creativity and the relentless pursuit of success. Whether it's a painting that stirs magic within you or a podcast episode that delves into the complexities of fame, every creation invites you into a realm of fantasy and inspiration. Visit my Etsy shop for prints and gifts, and join me on Kiss of Fame for genuine stories of grit and the art of achievement. Visit robertapacino.io to subscribe to my podcast and shop my Etsy store to expand your collection. Let's embark on this remarkable journey together. Enjoy your exploration, and remember, every visit is an adventure, and every piece of art and story is a doorway to a magical conversation. See you soon.
Okay, we're back. Thank you so much for watching that. I'm very proud of my my products. Okay, Allison.
Yes.
Let's see. What are businesses doing now to get in the metaverse? Actual businesses in the metaverse to get an edge over their competitors and their status and their success. And are big businesses using this? And what are they doing?
Well, I would like to start by saying that a really good edge to have would be to join the Metaverse Chamber of Commerce because we have a lot
Yes.
to teach people. But on another note, when you talk about big businesses, every day it feels like we're seeing more large corporations starting to incorporate in ready-made apps that have huge followings. A lot of the if you're looking at Roblox or Sandbox or buying space that doesn't even exist yet with a company that's already in motion to be able to put their metaverse in there as a corporation, which costs millions of dollars. Walmart is making a huge buy-in to Roblox, and they've created their stores, and they've created gamification. If you go to Roblox and you look up Walmart, they've got ways to collect stars and points and put things in a basket and be able to pick up objects. But they have a lot of games, get from point A to point B and find these items, and
Oh, I
it's a
see.
game. IKEA has created spaces as well. I also believe that it's in Roblox, and they may have their own. I'm not absolutely positive right this minute. But one of the more innovative things that they did that we can do as medium and small businesses and start thinking about is they have realized something else that I've said from the beginning to people that when we do our networking events and I talk to people one-on-one, when you and I talk and things like that, is we have to remember that the spaces we build in here are not going to be places we'll be able to be 24/7. But our customers and our clients and our visitors will be coming in 24/7 from all over the world because of mainly all the time differences. So right now it's like 10 a.m. for you, it's 1 o'clock for me on the East Coast. There's somebody in here who's in Europe and it's probably like 8 o'clock for them, and they would probably be willing to come back here if it was 1 o'clock their time, but we would be most likely sleeping unless all of us work all night or do something. We're probably sleeping when it's convenient for them to come in. And so what
Right.
IKEA did was realize that they can't be there 24/7 either all the time as they were. They've started hiring workers the same way they do in their real stores to come into their IKEA metaverse universes and be there. And they're paying them as though they're retail store workers who
Oh,
go into the
wow.
headset and stay there
Mhm.
for visitors to come in and talk to them. That's also not very practical for small and medium businesses, but what I tell people to do when they're creating a storefront or a metaverse or something where they can't be all the time, make sure everything you put in there is self-explanatory. So there are some places like here in Spatial, there are places you can put in images that explain what's going on and they can tell you, I'm not here, but here's what to expect in here, or here's what I focus on, or this is what I do. And just think about building things that you will not most likely not be there for, even if you are going to be there and you're making the effort to be there more often than not. Make sure that whatever you're building speaks for itself. Give them plenty of ways to interact with you, either through your website or through a chat bot or whatever it is. Build something that takes the place of you having to be there all the time and start doing that immediately
I
is one
love
of the
that.
best ways you can start getting people to not to be able to interact with you and be
Right.
successful
I'm
on a
starting
small
to think
scale. It
already.
doesn't cost
What can I
anything.
do? What can I do? How can I make it more understandable? How can they know when they walk in there what's going on, this is here for, where they can go for, there's so much
Yeah.
improvement I could make myself just thinking about it for a few seconds
Yeah,
just now.
think of
So,
it as a self-guided tour, even with arrows.
oh,
Read
that's
this
good.
first and
Yeah.
then read this and then read this. And then you can go here to my website and take a picture of my website for the apps that don't let you actively click on links inside the apps, like Multiverse does let you click on apps. I think in Spatial you can click on apps, but in Horizon you can't click on something, on a link. Tell them in it to take a picture of what they're looking at so they can look at it when they log out. Put a QR code on a photo, and then they can look at and use that when they leave and go right to your website.
Right.
Put in a form. I have lots of places where you click on something and a live form comes up where the in an app that allows you to open a browser window in front of you. I have forms where people can write to me right from my storefront or from my metaverse, and I'll get an email. And in return, they'll get an email that invites them to be able to interact even more with you. So the return email to the person who writes to you is also important. And in there, I usually put coupon codes. I put a coupon code just to get them to write to me in the first place. And then in their reply email from me, there's a higher coupon code to get them to actually hit send. Um, and then a link to all of my different websites and links to be able to come back into VR.
Yeah, very creative. So, how do you believe that virtual reality, spatial computing, which might have to explain what that is a little bit, and Web3
Mhm.
will revolutionize the way we perceive and interact with celebrities and influencers? I mean, what's
It's
going
going to
to
be
change? What do you
incredible for
see changing?
celebrities and influencers. And I just
It
thought of
is.
it as you were talking. Just as
Yeah.
you were talking. First, I
Yeah.
want to say there's virtually, and virtual is a funny word to use, but there's no difference between the terms virtual reality, Web3, and spatial computing. That's just kind of a way for different companies that are building different headsets and building different apps in here and building different metaverses to kind of differentiate the terminology. They all mean the same thing. So you don't have to worry about that. Spatial computing came
Okay.
around because
I didn't
the
know.
MetaQuest headsets were using virtual reality and metaverse. When Apple Vision Pro came out, which is the Apple version of the headset, they're trying to recoin it and give it a new moniker of spatial computing. So spatial just kind of means like this place is spatial. Called spatial literally, it's kind of building a space around you. It's an interaction inside a spatial environment. So it's the same thing, virtual reality, spatial computing, it's all the same thing and you can call it interchangeably. And the first thing when you said about celebrities and actors and artists and influencers using this, um, I thought of Cameo, right? How is this going to be something incredible for actors and people, you know, famous people, I would say, to be able to see a new horizon in here, so to speak. There is a Horizon app. And that is to be so easily able to engage with their audience and with their fans and have other people be able to engage by just either coming in or putting a personalized video in a space like this that followers and fans will feel really close to being able to be with them in person by watching a video. And it reminds me of Cameo, like I said. You can use this space as a live Cameo space. And I'm just coming up with this as I'm talking to you.
Yeah.
You
I
can
like it.
sell a meeting, you can have somebody want to purchase time with you as an influencer or an actor or celebrity and meet them in a space like this. And you can even be on your laptop while a VR headset user or somebody else on their laptop interacts with you in this 3D environment live.
Uh,
Is that making sense? There's
Yes,
there's just
I think it's getting people, if they get in here and they see how you feel like you're really there with the person. I don't
mhm,
know if people realize. I mean, it's so different. It's so
yeah.
different than just being. Uh, I don't know. It's amazing. So I
You
tell
feel
people
as though
like,
you're
here,
really
you
with the
can come
person.
here and you
Yeah.
can be here with me. I'll feel like
Yeah.
I'm with you. Even though
Right. That's what
I feel
yes.
like I met
And all
you
of
in
the
a thing.
avatar part of it and all of the cartoon that people think it all goes away and you're really standing. One
It
of my
does go
favorite
away. Yeah.
stories that I can show that is empirically that had changed something that I tell this story all the time. There's somebody here, Tink's Playground is Sarah Tink is in here and she is in
I
Seattle
think.
and she brought a guest in last year, I think it was, who was the inventor of the Lara Croft Tomb Raider series and the live
Yes, I
action
was
and the
there.
video games. He talked to
Amazing.
us for an hour, and I now feel like I've met him in person. You cannot convince me ever that I did not meet him in person. We were
Absolutely.
talking to each
Yeah.
other. He was standing in front of me, and we met and we
Oh,
talked.
and it was so moving because
Yeah,
you could get
right.
his
Yeah.
emotion and everything about,
Mhm.
his experience when he started this
Yeah, and
business
then
and
we went
everything. It was
outside, outside into the world. We were out of the room we were in, out into the city that the world was built in, and we flew around on jetpacks together. And you'll never be able to convince me that we didn't actually do that in life. That is something that I did.
that's pretty amazing. Ah, how wonderful. What a wonderful experience that must have been. So, yeah. So as far as fame goes, like, how, I mean, how do you define success in your life, in your world, and how important is fame to that definition?
That is completely an individual decision. There are people have different levels of how much notoriety or fame or recognizability, I suppose you would call it, that they want. I think that people who are pursuing to be famous and that really want to work with the public and really appreciate when somebody appreciates what you do has the level in mind of what they want to accomplish, you know? And I think that the universe of being inside VR or spatial computing, whatever you want to call it, is exponential because it is so live and it is so global that you can probably once we go over that precipice of this being affordable and open to everybody in the entire world, when the headsets are affordable, when they're easy to use, when they're sunglasses size, let's say, and you can just put it on and be immersed. This is stopping short of actual neurological chips that we may get to at some point. I'm not sure, and I don't know if I'm looking forward to that. But once this is easily accessible by everybody, the level of fame or celebrity or influence or popularity that somebody can achieve in here opens up much further than most types of other outreach can open for you. Because people, again, all over the world, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and once we can handle the traffic and the capacity in these worlds, you can fill thousands of people and you can achieve huge levels of
Mm,
celebrity and
how
influence,
exciting. And you
at
see that
every level,
happening
whether
soon?
it's entertainment or business or self-help or sports, whatever it is you want to do, you can find
Right.
your fan base in here. And it is much, potentially much larger than something you could do on another platform or in another environment.
Absolutely. Um, so in your wildest dreams, like, and I know that they're really wild by having this conversation with you, but if you could create a world in the metaverse without any limitations, like, what would it look like for
Well,
you?
like I said, you usually kind of have an idea of what you want to end, what the end looks like. I work in a lot of campaigns, and my day job has to do with campaigns, and you always know what the end goal is, right? You start from the end and you work backwards, and then you go forwards once you figure out what your end is. And I've said with Wonderland, my end goal in in an unlimited world that I can build to do whatever I'd like is a theme park. I want to be able to build a place where people will have a great time, where they can have rides, where there can be attractions, and on the business side of it, where they can buy things, you know, and they can go around and find really fun stuff that's real. And I'm not talking about digital items that they can use in the world. I mean real life products that you will have delivered to your door. And to a degree, you can do that now. That is not limited. It's not limited right now to not being able to do it at all. But to have a seamless experience for somebody to go in and kind of point and click at something and have it show up at their door
Oh,
is incredible to
and
me. And
it's
that's
going
where
there,
I would
right?
like, and have a fun doing it, right? It can be a game to
Hmm.
even go purchase something. If you can get through this, you'll end up in front of something that you can click on, and then it will show up at your door. And if that goes for food too. If you're hungry, you can click on something and the pizza will also arrive at your door. Or wine from another country that you never even knew existed will show up at your door. That kind of stuff does not have to be digital or virtual. It's real. But have a great time while you're doing it. That's my end.
Well,
That's my
I just
end
want, I'm
idea
just
for
wondering
this.
what you're gonna name its theme park. Uh,
It's Wonderland. No, it's Wonderland. It's
oh, it's
Alison
gonna be
Space in Wonderland.
Wonderland. Oh,
Yeah,
okay. Well,
yeah,
that's a good
yeah.
name for it. It sounds like Wonderland, an amazing
That's what I've
Wonderland.
been building.
S-
Hmm.
Um, so, as you become more recognized as being, in your field and here in the metaverse and everything, I mean, um, And I know you work on campaign. I mean, how will you use it, or how do you see maybe you would use your position in here to make like a difference in the world?
I think there's a lot of things that are going on right now that we're kind of grappling with, and you can see it in the conversations between the companies and corporations that are already building on a larger scale. And there are people out there looking at the ethics, and they're looking at the diversity and the inclusion aspects of what we can build in here. For example, over in Horizon, primarily Paige Danziger has been building in one way or another, getting ready for virtual reality for the last 10 years or so. She's very much focused on equity and inclusion and ethics, and making sure people are treated fairly, making sure that there are, I'm on the side also of making sure that if something needs to be addressed because there's been an incident, or there's something that makes people uncomfortable, or anything that would prohibit them coming back, or making them feel they have to leave because they don't feel safe. Like you had talked about feeling safe in here. And essentially
Mhm.
you do feel safer. But there are guardrails that need to be in place, and there are routes of addressing that need to be in place. And Meta, Facebook, Meta, who owns these headsets, and Apple are putting in ways to report abuse, for example, or putting in ways to be able to block something that is really bothering you in a space. And people should not be able to just interfere with your personal space or interfere with your experience. And it's just very, very important we continue to address that. And if we do it here when we're at the beginning, to me, that would be something that I would want to be very involved in, and that would be the difference that I would hope to make in guiding the course, with others, of making sure people want to be here and don't feel uncomfortable. And if something happens, we address it so it doesn't happen to anyone else. That's how you make this a safe space, and that's how you
Mhm.
contribute to making it a safe space.
It just sounds wonderful. It sounds definitely like someplace I want to hang out. So I'm glad you're here making a difference. So we're going to play your video,
Okay.
do you want to talk about it a little bit and what people should expect from it?
Yeah, well, one of the things I started doing about a year and a half ago was writing ebooks. Primarily, like I said, I do a lot of work to get people who are not in here. The same way I did with the internet is getting people who are not in here to get ready, because eventually they're gonna have to do something that is involved in Web3. And what I did was I put together a couple of different ebooks. I have 3 ebooks. They're $9 for all 3. They're digital, and it's just kind of explaining what's coming. And it doesn't, these books are not so much you have to go in and get something today. They're more about, this is the vision of what this will be eventually, the same way the World Wide Web became a place that every business was remiss to not have a website. Every business now thinks website before anything
Right.
else they do that has to do with writing about what they
Mhm.
are and how they sell. And this will become a place where people automatically, I'm going to start a business, or I have a business. What is the most important thing I have to do right now? And it could be 5 years from now, it could be 2 years, could be 10 years, but I have got to get a space inside virtual reality or a Web3 business. So this just kind of talks about some of the books explain some of the things that you'll be able to do. And I like to tell people those things, because when they start talking about it, you read the books and you realize, once you start thinking about actually doing it, the terminology I use in the books and the way I explain how things work will come back to you. That's how I train. I do a lot of training for different things all the time. And just telling people what it is, you don't have to remember everything or know everything or do everything, but you will remember that you read about that somewhere, and you know what the person you're talking about is talking about, talking to is talking about. And the books really are kind of a primer for what's coming. And the video just talks about why I wrote them and how to get them. So
Okay. All
that's
right.
that's a
Well,
setup.
that's a good setup. Okay, let's play the video.
Welcome to Metaverse Mastery and Virtual Reality. Incorporating virtual reality into my business was a game changer. Now you can enhance your brand, engage your audience, and leave a lasting impression. Our ebook will help. Learn how virtual reality works and create customer experiences that boost sales. Build a Metaverse presence for your small business. Get your copy now for just $7. Order today. Explore opportunities and challenges in using VR. Establish your presence and thrive. Metaverse Mastery and Virtual Reality. Get your copy now and shape the future of your business.
People on the screen are not getting full view.
I know. I get involved in the. Hi everybody. We're back. So Alison, is there anything else that you want to say? Well, I'm supposed to ask the people in the audience first. Does anybody have any questions? Sorry. Anybody have any in the audience? Can you hear me?
Well, I have a question for you. Miss
Okay.
Alison, with you, being so experienced in Metaverse, what would you say and share with somebody that does come to you and say, I'm not too sure about the Metaverse. I think we're not going to make it, to the Web3. What would be your rebuttal to them? And not even rebuttal, just response.
Well, it's what I've been saying, is that really, I understand that. I totally understand that. I had the same thing with the internet, and look where we are right now. And I absolutely believe that this is the next step, and it's not as overwhelming as you might think it would be. And by the way, I use something called workrooms. This is what I do a lot of the time, is I am part of a lot of groups in an app called Workrooms, which allows you to zoom in and speak with me inside the metaverse. And I'm in my headset and somebody's on the screen, and just come in and talk to me. And sometimes I bring other people in, and I can show them in there just the use of a Workrooms app, which lets me use a web browser and show different ideas and different things. But mainly, I try to get across that this is coming one way or another. It's the next level. A 3D environment is where we're headed, and they just remember that I said that, and look for. I like to tell people to look for places they're going to see it in the news or in the media, and just see it kind of building, right? Because we're going to get there, just like we got with the World Wide Web. And you just be patient. I understand all the trepidation. I absolutely do. But as long as they know that they could come and ask me anything they want, then I'm completely good. But there are ways to show people what's going on in here right now, especially using the links into Horizon Workrooms. That's a really interesting way. And spatial, you can come into spatial and do it. But there's ways to bring them in without a headset and show them.
Absolutely.
Tink.
Hey, I wonder, do you use Google or Jot forms for your forms for people to fill out? And what do you find are the best kind of forms for people to fill
So
out and get
honestly, I
responses?
use I haven't really thought about using Google. Google sometimes has some barriers where you have to log in and do a few different things. It doesn't always work as well as you'd like it to. Jotform
Mhm.
works really, really well, and there's a cost involved sometimes. But what I've been building in order to really get into the types of things I want to send back and forth, I've been building forms right into my website and making a web page and using that web page exclusively on doors, for example, inside Multiverse, which also helps give
Okay.
me analytics. When I use my own website to create the form and put that form into a door, I can tell how many people click on the door, whether they fill the form out or not. It gives me analytics. I'm not really
Okay.
sure the others do. So
That's
it's a
much
way for me to
easier.
count. Hmm?
That's a much easier way to do it. And
Mm-hmm.
great. Thank you. Yeah. Can experiment with that.
So are there any other questions?
Do you want to share about your event coming up soon?
I was just thinking
Yes.
that. Is it
Yeah.
okay?
No, I
So
was
I
just
just
going to
want to
ask
say,
you if there's anything else you wanted to share about. So it's a perfect time to
okay.
do it. Yeah.
So I have a busy VR Saturday today. After here, I'm going to go and make sure everything's in place for our new Metaverse Chamber of Commerce Expo. And this is kind of an interesting one. I try to do them every couple months where I showcase all the doors of the members and websites of all of our members in places where people can come in and click on all the doors when you're in the Multiverse app. It's in VR. And recently I was approached by the app that I started in, which is called Multiverse. They want to feature the Metaverse Chamber of Commerce in a very big way, which I'm so honored for them to do. And our grand opening, the Metaverse Chamber of Commerce by Multiverse, is today at 4 p.m. Eastern. And when you go into the Multiverse app, which you can download on your MetaQuest headset, there will be places where you go into the landing room where you first start to learn about Multiverse. They gave us our own dedicated door, which will always be there inside Grand Central, where everybody goes for their first time in and visits for updates when they use it a lot. You'll be able to click on the event door that's inside Grand Central and go to a brand new template that the developers of Multiverse built specifically for the Chamber of Commerce to be able to showcase businesses. And you go from there into a bigger expo template or a bigger expo room like this, which has all of our members lined up to visit all of their businesses. And that's going to stay up. It opens at 4 p.m. Eastern today, but it will stay up for a very long time, and people will always be able to go there. And the door in Grand Central and the door in the business development, in the business zone building in Multiverse City will always lead to that room. And we have 7 Chamber of Commerce's locations right now where there will always be a door to get to that. Plus, we're debuting our highlighted Horizon new location, which you can visit. It's not quite done yet, but there is a way to go into Horizon from the expo and be able to visit what's coming in the Horizon app for the Metaverse Chamber of Commerce. I'm very excited. It's going to be great.
So even though it's in the multiverse, people can have booths and have links to their businesses on other platforms.
Yeah, they could link to something in Spatial. They can link to Horizon.
Yeah.
They can link to a few different places that let you do that. That's the beauty. Multiverse lets you link out of their site and lets you travel to other places, other apps.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay. So is there anything else before we close here that you want to say?
No, well, thank you very much, Roberta. I'm sorry about your friend, Richard Simmons. I know the world is going to miss him. But I really appreciate such an in-depth discussion. I really love this.
I love it too.
Yeah. And I'm always around. You know that. I can always be found. I can be found online, offline, IRL, Web3. I use the same name, Alison Morano, for everything. So I'm very easily found. And if anybody wants to questions or wants more information about anything they can do to have a presence in here, please don't hesitate to ask. But I really do appreciate this opportunity.
Thank you, Alison. Thanks for being here. And I want to thank everybody who's here and watching and everybody who will watch in the future. And also my producing hosts, the Hello LLC, Tara and David, who are amazing. They built this whole studio for me, which I totally love. And they have all kinds of things that you can do here and businesses can get involved. And David, how do people find you? David in the audience? Okay.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Okay, thank you, everybody. So
Thanks.
there's no more questions. Bye now.